Welcome to Sembang Chillex podcast, a program that is created for the IEM members to let you know what is there in IEM as well as the people you have chosen to run the organisation. Assalamualaikum and a very good morning. Salam sejahtera. Thank you so much, JDK, for joining us today for the Sembang Chillex podcast. So in this episode, we will be looking at one of the standing committee in IEM, that is the corporate affairs. So without any delay, let's just go ahead and talk to Engineer K. So tell us a little bit, apa actually corporate affair is all about for IEM?
Thank you very much, Engineer Razak. Thank you for inviting me to say some few words about the Standing Committee of Corporate Affairs.
Yes, kita kena promote kan to the IEM members out there. Apa dia corporate affair tu?
Corporate affair basically is just one of the standing committee out of the, I think, total 8 of standing committee in the IEM. So currently, I'm the chairman of the corporate affair. Corporate affair in IEM we always refer CA.
Yes.
The abbreviation is CA, Corporate Affairs CA. CA is a standing committee responsible for the managing and maintaining the IEM reputation, IEM relationship with stakeholder, including the organization, the other professional bodies, government agencies and so on, and of course is to maintain the overall public image of the IEM. Basically, corporate affair ni something like, you can think that it's a bridge between IEM, our institution, with the external parties, like the government agencies or other professional bodies and so on.
Does it include the IEM members as well?
Of course, that is the main role of we are serving everything, including the members. But the main responsibility is just the link. We are the link between IEM, the institution, to the external body.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of involvement IEM have with the government bodies, dengan international bodies and all that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Basically, as far as concerned, IEM as a learned society, we are the learned society. We also establish the relationship with other professional bodies, for example. So other professional bodies similar to us, like in civil engineering, ICE institution, other institution. I'm talking about the other institution, like institution of civil engineer, institution of mechanical engineer, and so many of professional bodies. So we have a relationship, and the role of the CA is basically to establish this role on behalf of IE.
Okay. So to include all of the organisation out there, there's a lot of things that we need to do. So what kind of day-to-day activity that we actually do with this organisation?
Okay. Basically, sometimes with the government agencies and so on, for example, we have the representative. IEM has a representative, and the IEM representative will sit in various government agency in the capacity of advisory, for example. It could be serving as a committee, for example, disaster relief committee or something like that. So this is basically IEM, and the corporate affair basically coordinate this thing, all this thing on behalf of the IAM.
Rasanya banyak IAM members nak tahu macam mana kita punya relationship dengan BEM.
Okay. Maybe sometime even among our members, so we are a little bit confused. The role of BEM, Board of Engineers, Lembaga Jurutera Malaysia, as well as the IEM as a learned society. So I think we all know that the role of BEM is a regulatory body. Regulator. They regulate the profession. Or basically just to make sure we'll do what we are supposed to do. All the engineers do what we're supposed to do according to our code of practice and so on. But same thing also. But IAM as a learned society, we have a specific mission. As a learned society, we promote the science and the engineering and technologies and so on. So basically, both are working closely and together in promoting the mission and vision of the science and technology and so on. Okay. So, but rather than it just seems to be, some people thought it just, but we work closely between IEM and BEM, supporting each other.
In terms of our relationship, say for example with the international, we talk about you basically are sitting here as a secretary general of the AFIO, to get the IAM members the idea in terms of our relationship with the international parties like AFIO. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay, for information, AFIO is the ASEAN Federation of Engineering Organization, which IEM is part of a members institution of the ASEAN. It has been exist in about 40 years now.
Yes.
More, in fact,
41 years.
41 years.
Yes.
Engineer Razak very well know about that thing because why? Because he himself lead the commemorative 40 years anniversary of AFIO, so he knows better.
So check out the AFIO website for you to take a look at the digital coffee table book.
Going back to the question just now, what is our involvement in the AFIO and so on? AFIO consists of 10 members institution of 10 ASEAN country. So every ASEAN country has a members representing in the AFIO. So in terms of AFIO, in terms of activities and so on, we Malaysians are very active. In fact, the secretariat of the AFIO now is under us, IEM, which is happen to be currently yours truly, is the currently so-called Secretary General of the AFIO. So, but the membership of other countries as well in the AFIO was very active because of AFIO has at least we meet officially 2 times a year. One is during the midterm, but the big event is always end of the year. So we are very active in the AFIO, and I'm proud to say that we are quite well respected in the AFIO in terms of our involvement, our contribution in the organization at the ASEAN level.
So basically, you are the face of IEM. So basically, because corporate affairs is such an important standing committee in IEM, and let's go back to the basic question. What would you like to achieve at the end of your session for the corporate affairs?
Very good question, Engineer Razak. I've been involved in IEM, actively serving the committee. Of course, we are volunteers like this. More than 20 years now, since my years at the Southern Branch. And over the years, I've seen the involvement, and I'm proud to say that we have a very good fellowship among members, especially among the young engineers as well. But what I would like to see, there will be more involvement of members in the IAM activities.
Yeah.
For example, you can say now there are not many. We have about total. We are always proud of our membership, including the student and so on, about close to 50,000. But my observation when it comes to physical activities and so on, very few, relatively very few. What I would say is that please come along and be more active, because of the institution and learned society like us. I think it's all depend on members.
Yeah.
You can always say, hey, what is it for me to be involved in IM? But on the other hand, also to make the institution active and so on, it's all depend on members, because of a members institution or association. So it's up to members. If we get more active in then we'll get more IM to be more visible, especially among the publics and so on. So this is what I would see, that more active participation from members.
I think memang it's a critical issue lah kalau kita katakan about IM members' involvement with the organisation itself. For example, kalau we do a survey, we send out the survey 10,000, the one that come back only like 500. And then even kalau kita buat voting, for example, kita hantar dekat ni 37,000 but sampai 700 saja. So kind of like sedih kan. What does CA wants to do in order to bring back all the IAM members back to the organisation?
One of the things I think to have our institution to be, active or more visible in the thing is that we ourselves member have to play a very important role.
Yes.
For example, one of the things I think we have to instill among members the sense of pride to be the IM members.
Yeah.
Instill the pride to serve in the IAM and be part of the engineering fraternities. I think that is what is probably we need to push a little bit harder, so that most important, if you're proud of your institution, then a lot of things are beginning to happen nicely. So you must feel proud to be an IAM member, something like that. So this is the role of CA as well, basically to promote the sense of pride and sense of belonging to our own institution.
This one goes back to branding as well as image of IAM lah kan. So currently probably a lot of the members, whenever that they talk to me, they say IAM ni is old fashioned. So what basically is your opinion on that?
Good question.
Kita bagi soalan kepala lah.
Ini soalan panas.
Yalah, pedas. Professional, engaging, direct, authentic and sensible. That is kita punya Sembang podcast. Okay.
I think most important, I think IAM need to go or go along with the current trends, whatever. For example, the social media platform is one of the very effective way of attracting, especially in also not only the younger generation, but you can see among engineers also have to be a little bit more receptive in all this thing, So your approach in engaging into especially the young engineers is also, to me, I think it's very important, So some of the activities and so on, you have to get more involvement and more attractive to the younger group of engineers or members, something like that. So this is what I think we should move toward get.
I think that is very interesting, because kita punya members 50,000 tu, about 37,000 tu are actually graduate and student members. So this is actually a very stronghold of majority of our members, and these are the people yang kita kena actually develop for the future industry. And our focus so far, we do have yes to actually handle that, but how does CA support yes?
I think from time to time, whatever the activities that coming in, we try to initiate and support. Yes, especially sometimes, like for example, from time to time, yes, have a brainstorming session, something like that. So we can engage through that, and then we will get our people, our so-called senior, little bit senior people, also to involve in this sort of activities, so that they understand sometimes the mind and how the way things are moving for the younger members. I mean, in that sense. I think that is very important, because the general perception is that, especially for the young graduate engineers or things like that, IEM they cannot fit in the IEM because of all the things are somehow it meant for more towards corporate members of so-called professional engineers. So this is where, as far as concerned, the IEM should not look into more targeting. Of course, traditionally it involved from the professional practice and so on. But as a learned society, you'll be more inclusive and more comprehensive to cover all activities, the empowerment to the younger generation.
I think that is really important, because we were talking about the inclusivity of all of our members, and I think the younger members are those people that we actually need to be focusing on right now. Okay, back to the question.
Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm yet to see. Sorry to say, this one is a little bit pedas. For sometimes in our social activities like annual dinner, some of the remark I heard, I mean, is so somehow. Even annual dinner, the event and so on, not really geared
towards the younger generation.
So I would like to see one day, in terms of the annual dinner performance and show and so on, it could be performed by the younger members itself rather than going for the. So I'm sure playing band, we got about almost 50,000 members. I'm sure those are, some of them are musician or involved in. You can use this one rather than taking a professional.
We could. Tapi tell about in terms of difference in ideas on how things. IEM still have a lot of tradition. I would say tradition that is passed on for the past 64 years.
64 this year,
64 this year, and next year is going to be 65, which is our Blue Sapphire anniversary. So we will be coming up with the book on history of IEM for the 65th year. Okay, back to but I think it's really important. There's a lot of things that we need to talk about in terms of how we want to develop our our younger generation. But back to the
you are good at you don't want me to stray away from your intention.
We need to get back to your core, because CA Corporate Affairs is a very important standing committee over in IEM, because it involves outside people, how we are being seen by the public, by the members as well. So it's not something that just involved within the IEM itself. So going back to the most significant things that you will be doing before the end of your session, can you talk a little bit about that?
Okay. probably suggest for some more activities that involve the younger. For example, brainstorming session and team building session for members, and some activities that can enhance the fellowship among members. I think that's the most important thing. On the bigger scale, with the external organization and so on, we are having more and more memorandum of understanding, MOUs, among the. Currently, IEM itself have about more than 50 MOUs, but some are maybe traditionally years ago doesn't seem to be active. But most of the time, we trying to look into. Having MOU is one thing, very easy. Everybody want to do
Everyone
the MOU with MOU one sign, very big. But what came out of that things? I think that is something that we need to look into, how to, exploit each MOU with party. And to basically just to continue promote the positive image of IEM. In terms of branding and visibility to general public. For example, when people talk about the engineering profession to the important stakeholder like the government and things like that, IEM should appear in their mind.
So when they talk about engineering, ini tidak masa problem menjadi problem yang berlaku, baru dia orang ingat engineering.
This is something unique about our own profession. Only when disaster, sorry to say, batang kali or things like that, then they will keep asking, who's are the engineers doing this thing, and then what is the engineer doing, why it's not taking. So somehow our reputation is somehow, not to say that negative, but people look into when the accident at the construction site occurs and so on. That is where people know about the engineering. But
that will be your challenge to actually.
That is something that we need to enhance the image of the engineering, to make in a positive way.
That is actually a big challenge, because to change people's perception about what engineering is all about. Because a lot of the things that happens in the country, in the world, is because there's engineering. But without the engineering, there's a lot of things that is not going to be there. We have limited amount of time right now because we are trying to keep the video short so that our members out there doesn't spend that much of the time to take a look at this. So the last question that I have for you, what is your hopes and dreams for the IEM in the future?
Okay. I would like to see IEM to be more relevant, or at least seems to be more relevant to the engineering fraternities or engineering profession. So I think that's very important.
You want all of the engineers to come over to IEM and be with the fraternity so that they can get help with their career, they can get help with whatever life that they are actually doing and whatnot. So there's a whole lot of things over in IEM.
That's the intention. Yes, but please, most important also, you have to have some sense of pride to be a member, a part of the engineering fraternity, and proud to be members of the institution. I think that's
obviously you are very proud to be the IEM member. I can see that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, the IEM members who's watching this, who will be listening to this. This Sembang Chillex podcast bring you the things that you need to know about IEM, and as well as the people that is running it, the people that you have chosen to actually run the organization. Until the next episode, we thank you, Engineer K, again for being with us today.
Thank you, Engineer.
Thank you.